Why are we here? We're here to break
Welcome to
barriers,
Edge of the
because
Rabbit
freedom-
Hole. I am Mike Ricksecker, your host, author, and ghost story. And with me, as always, is Vanessa, always our co-host. Always chat Shananigator. Shana down in the chat. Hope she's feeling better. She's grabbing some tea, and then Chuck Banks is back. He was our fill-in co-host there for a couple weeks when Vanessa was gone in Ireland, and we've also had him on as a guest before, so he is back and in action. So welcome back, Chuck.
Hey, you know what? I'm very excited to be here, but I'll talk in my golf voice just a little bit tonight, Mike.
We're going to the golf voice. Chuck is driving to the green.
and tappy. Anyway.
That's right. So Chuck is also a radio host. For those who are new, he's also an author and a psychic medium. And so we're going to talk about the state of the paranormal. But first, before we get into that, we're going to pay homage to Art Bell. Very, very fantastic talent, especially in the paranormal field. I mean, really, he's one of those guys that paved the way for all of us that are doing this now. He's the one that started Coast to Coast back in the 80s, which is, completely blown up now. It's huge all over. It's what I remember when he left in 2003. I think they were syndicated 400 some odd different stations. So, he's really one of those pioneers of our field. And so it's a great loss, and I think we could all, take a lesson, from the things that he's done over the years. What do you guys think?
Do you want me to go first, Vanessa, or
yes,
do you want to
I
go first?
do.
Okay.
You go first.
I look back at Art Bell, and I can remember a lot of fond childhood memories when I wasn't, looking at this channel where there was like this, and you could see the no, I won't talk about naked bodies tonight. Anyway, in all seriousness, listening late in the evenings in the 80s when it was called West Coast radio, and when it became Coast to Coast, and hearing Art Bell, I pretty much give Art Bell all the props for me and my interest in the paranormal way back in the 80s, and not a lot of people know that I had an interest back then, but that was when I got in a lot of trouble by opening up all those doors and things like that. But my fondest memory of Art Bell, even though it's been considered a hoax by many, was when he was on that night and he said, "Folks, you have to listen in carefully, and I'm going to warn you." And it was the Siberian hellhole, and it scared the freaking shit out of me by strange, it was just intense, and all the crazy callers Art Bell got. Oh my God.
Well, and the thing that was great about that was he listened to everybody. I mean, you could call in with the craziest thing, and he would let you talk. And he would just kind of, And what's kind of interesting is there were only very few times that he ever really said, yeah, I believe in this, I believe in that. He more took the approach of, well, it's possible. It could be. We don't know for sure. Because, and I think, like for us, we kind of take that approach because we don't know for certain a lot of these things that are out there. And so he left open for everybody the possibilities of whatever they called in about. That it might sound crazy, but it's possible.
Absolutely.
Mike, if they check back in the archives, they might hear a show where this guy by the name of Bob Bartlett from Iowa called in, and he's probably got a similar voice as to mine. But I didn't call him with my own voice.
Bob Bartlett?
Yeah, Bob Bartlett from
Iowa.
Bartlett,
okay, from Iowa. I'll have to check that out. So what were you going to say, Vanessa?
Oh, no, I'm just saying you're absolutely correct. And that's, talking about art and talking about the state of the paranormal, they're one and the same. I mean, what he did and what very little, I don't know as much about him as you guys do. But what he did in allowing others to talk about their experiences and to share those experiences without judgment is something that's truly lacking in the community now.
Yeah.
It really is. There's so many cooks in the kitchen you know,
Right.
that everybody wants to be head chef, when in fact one isn't needed. We can all just pitch in together and make that salad, for lack of a better way of putting it. We all have valid opinions, experiences, things that we need to get out there, and losing somebody that was willing to listen to those is a great loss. And I hope that we on a weekly basis take up some of that slack.
Yeah. $10 super chat from Tom McNicholas. He says because Chuck had the shit scared out of him is what he says.
Thank
you, Tom.
Back, Art had such a profound effect on all of us.
Yeah.
Even the people that he might have had, a bickering or a difference of philosophy with, he impacted all of us. And I just want to say, as a medium, I feel that Art is flying with the angels tonight. And laughing down that he knows the damn answers now.
He knows the answers.
Quite jealous.
Yeah. He's one of those, and people, that are newer to this field may not know as much about Art Bell. Maybe they never even got a chance to listen to any of his shows. And if you haven't, there's a bunch of them out on YouTube. Go check them out. He has influenced everybody in this field today. He's really, like I said early on, one of those pioneers, one of those, forefathers of the paranormal and supernatural, community. Back in the day, you had Harry Price, there was Hans Holzer, the Warrens. Kind of, as you step through the 20th century, you can kind of, pick out the people that, influenced the next generation. And, with today's TV generation, maybe they're just not as familiar. Maybe they haven't looked into it, but it didn't start with Jason and Grant and, shall I say, the Z name. It was way before those guys. Yeah, there's Chuck.
It's even grab my ass.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
But let's also point out something that I think people don't give enough credit for. There's something to be said talking about paranormal situations and activity and evidence and experiences over the radio, or even doing a show like this, because there's no gimmick. There's nothing but the story to hold people's interest.
Right. And I think
that's huge.
Him offering a show in which you could call in and share your experiences was really significant, because up to that point, you could try doing it through the written word. I mean, that's what Hans Holzer did. There were a few that kind of broke a little mainstream, just a couple. Like I said, the Warrens prior to that. But he offered a format where anybody could call in and share their experiences and let others know you're not alone. Like somebody listening that maybe never did call in, just tuned on and kind of lurked there in the night, listening to what he had to say and what others had to say. Could be, hey, I've had that experience too, which is a lot like what we do here and what we do with the Encounters with the Paranormal books. But back then, you didn't have that. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have, we started off of Blog Talk Radio. We didn't have Beyond the Light Network like Chuck has. This was just, he set up in the middle of the night, asked the radio station that he was working for, hey, can I use that time slot? And he'd actually been out of radio for like 6 years prior to that. Just started back up. I got dragged back into it. And it was like, I'm going to take that nighttime spot. And it is snowballed since then. So it's fantastic.
And the voice,
He had the voice, yeah.
George Norrie's got a great voice, but Art Bell had a voice. I mean,
I actually just did a reading the other day with somebody, and we were talking, and they were talking about how I was talking about activity, in their house and everything, and different things they could do at night when they sleep to try to minimize activity. And they said one of the things that they do is they listen to Art Bell because of how his voice affected them and how calming it was. And I think that is probably, I'm never going to get that compliment. I'm never going to get that because I'm so far away from calm. And if you listen to me, that for somebody to be told that or have that being said about them, to me is such a huge compliment. And it's not just the voice, it's his presence that did it. That's big. That's way bigger than anybody walking in front of a TV camera today.
If I can take anything, even a granular piece of sand from Art Bell, it would be that my guests, my callers, that they felt as if I was there and I was listening to the story and I was allowing it to unfold unbiasedly. And if I can do that, and if my listeners, or if something comes about, then I've done my job. It's almost like my father. I look at my father and I said, if I can be an inkling like my dad, then that's just fine. It's truly amazing. It's going to be sad that he's gone, but we all know that he's in a much, much, much grander place, and I'm sure that he's still using his voice in heaven.
Yeah,
I know some out there are saying he is, but we're just going to leave that at that.
we have a question from Tom McNicholas. Have you ever heard of Richard Crowe in Chicago? He did a para radio show there for years. I have not.
I've not heard of him. That means that I'm going to have to write it down. What is the name again?
Richard Crowe.
Richard Crowe.
Okay.
And I see Judy Wilson's comment. Yeah, I did want to address that. Steve Huff.
Yes.
I'm throwing it out there. Steve,
yeah.
I'm just going to say this. Steve, fuck you.
Thank you.
I'm just done.
Thank you.
He pissed me off years ago with Robin Williams. Now he's doing it with Art Bell. Steve, fuck you. Knock it off.
It's not the only ones he's done it with either.
I know. I'm just...
And
it's classless. It's just classless.
And he better not do it with Barbara Bush tonight.
Probably.
I wouldn't be surprised. I just, I actually responded to, I can't remember who put the post up about it. Oh, it was Christina George, bless her. Love you, Christina. And I said, I heard enough about that man to know I don't want a fucking thing to do with him. And if he ever sees this, he'll be like, well, I don't know who she is. I don't want a fucking thing to do with her either. Good, then we're mutual. Crawl back under the fucking rock you came back out from under. Because it's bullshit.
And again, I hate to interrupt, Mike, but the state of the paranormal, it's a sad freaking day when people have to resort to that, and it's a sad freaking day when so many people are so enthralled in getting this show and something exciting that they're willing to sell their soul. And I've had a lot of people out there saying, "Hey, Chuck, if you do things this way, things are going to be better. If you do things this way, things are going to be better." And you know what? I am perfectly fine doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Yeah, I don't need that shit.
It was last I saw 80,000 clicks, and we need to take a step back because there are some people I'm seeing in the chat that aren't familiar with Steve Huff and what he does. So Steve he has a YouTube channel. He's been on a number of the shows. He basically builds different types of ghost boxes. And what he has done over the years is made a nice little niche for himself of doing celebrity ghost box sessions. I think he has his Wonder Box now and all this of celebrities that have passed away, like immediately after they've passed away. Like I said, he pissed me off years ago with the Robin Williams one, where just after Robin Williams committed suicide, here's Steve Huff on YouTube, contacting Robin. If you've ever seen it, because I see it occasionally still, where you see messages from Robin, that's his. And now he posted one from with Art Bell. I guess it was over this weekend, and the same thing. He's just sitting there in his dining room or whatever. He's got his ghost box on, and he's claiming that he's getting messages from Art because the first thing Art Bell's going to do when he passes away is contact Steve Huff or Robin Williams. Of course he's going to contact Steve. And yeah, I'm calling you out, Steve. I've never met the guy, but I've seen enough of the shit to say enough. And Chuck, like you said, state of the paranormal. That is a sad state indeed, right there.
It's what angers me so much is that I guess he put something out there saying that he was retiring because he's been possessed and it's causing all this hardship and drama in his life. Dude, that's not possession. It's fucking karma. If the shit's going down in your life, it's because of this shit right here, and it's called karma. Maybe if you stop that fucking shit, people will quit, it'll quit happening. But it made me furious because I'm like, let people pass in peace.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Give the family respect, you know? Come on.
Thank you.
Respect the family enough.
Thank you. Sorry, Chuck, honey. You go ahead.
No. I couldn't agree more. I look at the sad state that we're in, and the amount of not just Steve Huff, but the amount of clicks, the amount of bartering, the amount of bargaining, with all these different groups. And oh my God, if you're friends with him, you either block them or block me. I think that's horse crap. It's ludicrous. And frankly, I got into the paranormal because I wanted to learn more about the afterlife. Okay. And it seems that people are getting into the paranormal so they can have what, it's like porn to a lot of these people. Okay. Yep. It's this addictive crap. Whereas I want to go back. I want to go back when Facebook, the social media sites, or the YouTube, or the Googles, or the Twitter, when you know what, we got in there, we followed people because they were going to speak about the paranormal. We were going to change the freaking world. That's what I'm tired of. We need to get back to those basic principles.
Yes, yeah. And you're right about the clicks. I mean, you know what? I am perfectly content right now to be a poor little white girl in Norman, Oklahoma. And in 3 years when my son graduates, I'll be a poor little white girl somewhere else. I don't have any desire to be famous. I don't have any desire to be any more well-known than I am right now. I'm fine right where I am. Last time I checked, I never learned to kiss ass that well. So I'm not going to get a whole lot further.
We have a $10 super chat from Andrew Cox. It says, R.I.P. Art Bell. Caller line 3, hello Art Bell show. Hi, Bigfoot kidnapped me and put me on a UFO, is what he says.
That's awesome. I want to hear that story.
Could you tell me, the caller, could you tell me briefly what color the car was?
Oh, that's awesome. That is phenomenal.
No, back to kind of our conversation, Mike. I would rather hang out with you and Vanessa and like Candy, Shay, Mike, all those people because we're friends and we love the paranormal. That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, we call it, with Haunted Road Media, and I include you guys with it, even though you haven't published a book through Haunted Road Media yet. We call it the Haunted Road Media family, because that's what we all are. We're all kindred spirits here together and sharing experiences and sharing those with others. And that's, I think that's a lot of what art was about, was allowing people to share.
Absolutely. And that's what it should be about. I've said this I've said it a million times on a dozen shows. Imagine where the medical community would be right now if people didn't share information. If you couldn't learn from each other, where would you be? Imagine how far back we would be if we didn't do that in the medical community. I mean, in my office, if we can't do something on somebody, guess what we do? We find someone who can. And that's what this community should be like. It's not about us losing money. It's about that person getting the best possible care they can. Why is the paranormal any different?
And there's so little money in the paranormal anyway.
Exactly. My shit cost me more than I make. Traveling, it cost me more than I make. But you know what? I love it. And I love helping people. And I love being involved with you guys. I know plenty of shit people in this field. And I haven't made one message, one phone call to anybody telling them, I don't like that person. They're an asshole. You can't be friends.
Hey,
hang on a second. This is sad. Snaggletooth, our friend Patrick up in Canada, $5 Canadian super chat says, "Hi Mike, I'm sorry I haven't bought your books yet," which is fine. You don't worry about it. But he says, "My mom died last week and I can't afford the books right now." I'm really sorry, Patrick. Absolutely sorry about that.
He's going to message me after the show.
Have him message me on Facebook, Charles Anthony. Send me his email, and I will send him PDF copies of all my books.
Yeah, we'll hook you up, Patrick.
Oh, I can do that too. I just got to figure out how. Chuck, help me.
I'll help you out a little bit.
Vanessa, you should have PDF copies that I sent you before they got published.
I just send it to you.
I sent you the galleys at some point. That's okay. I have PDF copies of your books, Vanessa. I can send them right back to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. And yeah, he's going to message me after the show because he had a question, and I would rather address it personally.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Okay.
So, well, all right. So, moving on. So back to art. I know that was kind of we needed to take care of that though. So
yes, we did.
But yeah, back to art, back to the state of the paranormal. You know, we lose an iconic figure like this. Where do we go from here? You know, and art had been kind of out of the game for a couple years anyway. I mean, he tried coming back, what was it, 2015, and then all of a sudden somebody was shooting at his house, and so he stopped, which was absolutely ridiculous. But we've lost an iconic figure here, and do we take this moment to be able to look back at the legacy that he had and reminisce and remember what he brought to the table, and now that maybe some of the younger crowd, those that have been in this less time, have a chance to look at his body of work, do we have an opportunity now to be able to harness some of that original creative energy in this field and put that back into the future of this?
You know, I think I think a good way to do that is, it's much like, I look back, my father passed away 8 years, the 30th this month. And by talking about Art Bell, by sharing his material with others, whether it be on our pages or whatever, let them get a chance to experience Art Bell for all the grandeur and glory and conspiracy that this guy was, and, share that. And, I'm going to, as I continue, I've taken kind of a hiatus on my show, but, when I bring back that show, I'm going to bring a little bit of art with me, to share some of those stories, because that's really how you keep the legacy alive. Even George Norrie and Art weren't really that close, but I listened to George's show last week, and he was in freaking tears, couldn't even hardly speak when Art passed away. So that tells you how much passion and exhilarance and of who Art Bell truly was.
Yeah, well, George Foley acknowledges that if it wasn't for Art, he wouldn't be where he is today, which is absolutely true. So, yeah, I mean, they disagreed on a number of different things, but ultimately, Art is the one that paved the path for George. And George Foley recognized that, which is fantastic. So, absolutely. And I do want to apologize to our viewers right now. I've seen some of the comments in the chat about the volume. Apparently my volume is going up and down here on my end. Not sure why. I know it happened last week. Everything's set up the same, so I'm not sure what's going on with that.
It must be because I was screaming earlier, and I apologize.
Maybe.
Actually, I think the powers that be are fascinated by your golf voice, and they're just kind of working it in there slowly.
It's my golf voice.
It's your golf voice.
It was a whole inside joke from before we went on air. Chuck was wanting me to talk in a golf voice throughout the entire episode.
It was awesome. It was good.
So we're approaching the green.
Shit, don't.
That's a birdie. Oh my God, that's a birdie.
Just to let y'all know, they were a whole lot more perverted with it before the show started.
Me?
Yes, you, Chuck. Don't
wasn't me.
like it wasn't happening.
Me.
Anyway, so before we get any more off track, so I mean, what do we think? Like Mike was saying, what do we think is going to happen now? Do you see, as Art being kind of the godfather of the paranormal when it comes to this type of stuff? How do you think shows are going to evolve after this, especially shows, not just teams or individuals in the field, but shows themselves? Are they going to use him as an example to go by, or are they going to say, oh, that old man, sure, he was great, but he did it wrong?
I think I think we look at these shows, and frankly, there's a new show each week. And you know what? I'm glad that people are out there. They're promoting their voices, their experiences, all that sort of stuff. That's fine. But it is one of those things. I look at the podcasting or the online radio format or whatever in much the same light as I see the paranormal or politics or whatever. It just appears that the people are in it for themselves instead of in it for the right passion, finding the right answers. But that's coming from my side of things and what I've seen over the past 5 years in podcasting.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Well, and I think a lot of people are trying to to mimic the format, and to some degree, sure, there's people out there that they're trying to get fame and fortune by doing it. I think there's others that feel a bit of inspiration to do it, and they try their hand at a few radio shows, and it's not for me. But I applaud them for trying, and I think that's one of the wonderful things about the internet is it has allowed us to be able to try our hand at it. If YouTube and the internet did not exist, this show wouldn't be here right now. So it has afforded us the opportunity to at least try, and
absolutely
I think
true.
that is a fantastic thing.
It really is. I remember when I was approached to do a show. That y'all, I love y'all. Ain't no way in hell I could do this by myself. I mean, there's no way in hell. And I mean,
well, yeah, Vanessa, I'm doing this right now because you were offered, and you're like, Mike, I'm not gonna do this by myself. Can you do this with me?
Yeah.
And so here we are.
Yeah. It takes not just one, but many people with a passion working together.
Yes.
For the greater good and for the right reasons. I wouldn't have lasted 6 months if I tried to do this by myself, and I know that. Yeah, I am well aware of my limitations.
Yeah, but I wonder, is there a way to harness the that classic show that Art had and the voice, of course, in a format like this and not have it turn into like the Demon Hour? Because I could certainly see that going down the road, because as TV has amped itself up and everything has to be a demon. Is that what happens here on shows formatted like this? Does it become the Demon Hour?
I'm going to be rhetorical, so I'm going to use the Socratic method because I had questions come, to me. So I'll ask this as a form of a question. Should we strive to be like Art Bell, or should we use the same principles that Art Bell utilized to make our show as individualized as possible to share our form of the love of paranormal? And it could just happen to spark a new renaissance in the paranormal.
I think we use the same principles. We can't be Art Bell from the 80s because there's only one Art Bell. He's a classic. He's that old icon, but also technology has changed. We're not getting on a 75,000 megawatt station, whatever it was. It's completely different now. Format has changed, times have changed, technology has changed. So we can't do it the way he did it back then. But we can take those principles and apply them to the technology and the format that we have today.
Very true.
Yeah. So.
What do you think, Chuck?
You said question, so I was wondering if there was a follow-up.
We had 2 seconds of lost airtime.
Dead airtime. Complete dead airtime. Art would never have let that happen. Yeah, we're already losing on the principles.
But we're learning.
And you look at the internet, you look at the quality, whether it be on Spreaker or some of these other formats, and the quality is freaking amazing. Because back then, you had that, that went back and forth, when it was true radio. But no, I look at how you get away from like the Demon Hour or pimping that rationality of radio shows out. I think it's going to take all of us together. It's not going to be just one person being able to do this. It's going to have to be a team-oriented aspect, because we all have differing beliefs, philosophies, and interests when it comes to how we convey our topics. So ultimately, at the end of the day, and I just said at the end of the day, which is the name of my radio show that I'm on hiatus from. It's one of those things where it would be very tough to do. Don't you agree? I mean, you see a lot of shows that are similar in nature, and they do kind of turn into that demon hour.
Well, yeah, and I think it's kind of the nature of the beast that a lot of people don't know where to start, so they mimic what they're seeing. Completely understandable, and that's kind of the way Vanessa and I started. Is we started on Blog Talk Radio, and so we were putting together a show that we had always seen and heard, prior, that we had always been on, because we get called on to a lot of shows like yours, Chuck. And so that's what we started with. Okay, we'll invite some guests and we'll talk to them and we'll ask some questions and just see where it goes. And we have now since changed that into what we have today. And so I think everybody has their own journey to take, if this is a path that they continue to take. And ours ventured down this road with the YouTube Livestream. Yeah, it went down the rabbit hole with YouTube Livestream. So I think it's just it's going to be a bit of a different journey for everybody, and those that stand out are the ones that take that a little bit of a different crooked path.
Well, and I mean, let's be honest. The difference in shows is not just about how you start out and where you're at today, but it's how you do things. And Chuck, I know you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say this, but when we bring people onto the show, it's not only so that we can learn and the viewers can learn, but it's because the topics are interesting. There's camaraderie, there's a back and forth, not just between us and the guests, but between the people that are watching and are in chat as well. There's a complete and total circle of communication. It isn't, hey, I'm going to bring so-and-so on the show so I can tell them how great they are, because it might promote me.
Well,
am I wrong?
Go ahead. I guess maybe Chuck was going to answer, but I have a comment to follow up on.
No, I was just going to say that, you look at how, our shows have evolved and all that sort of stuff. My show's kind of evolved into, hey, what the hell's attached to me? What am I going through? And all these guests were able to say, Chuck, you're not a crazy SOB like your wife thinks you are. You are actually going to. No, it is truly about engagement and learning, letting those folks tell their stories, which is great. I think out of the thousands of hours that I've been on the air, and it's going to be 5 years this year, which is, it just boggles my brain.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. Within those thousands of hours and hundreds of guests, there's only been 2 that have blocked me and have stopped talking to me. So that's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That's good. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
I think where I was going to chime in with was, going back to trying to take principles from Art, where he would basically let everybody call in with whatever they want. He didn't screen any of the calls. And so what we've allowed with this format here, we have this fantastic chat room with the Mad Hatters. And every once in a while you get a nut job in there and you got to boot them because they're, whatever. They're being disrespectful, insulting people, all that. But, 99% of everybody that's ever come into this chat room has been absolutely fantastic. And we interact directly with them. Kind of like Art taking a call. Of course, you would have to take one call. We have all these people in here and they're throwing at questions at us. There's the comments that come in and we talk about them right here live on air. So I think that's been a fantastic way that this field has evolved, in that instead of just taking a call, now we have an entire discussion going on here and we're watching it back and forth. This discussion that they're having there. And then sometimes those comments and questions get thrown at us and we address them straight to the Mad Hatters on air. It's fantastic.
That is something that is very beautiful about our chat room, is that I have it on my phone right here so I can follow and see what's going on. And to see people talking and interacting amongst themselves and sharing ideas and experiences and everything else. Strangers.
Yeah.
Meeting each other in our chat room and learning their differences, their similarities, their, what makes each other tick, how they can help each other, the compassion. To me, that's one of the things that I am absolutely most proud of.
Yeah, from all over the world.
Particular show, all over the world.
Australia, Canada, UK, of course, the United States, all represented. Scotland,
Ireland,
everywhere. And Chuck, you have that too on Beyond the Light Network.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's awesome is, I look back at, everybody in the chat room or whatever, and I can count on one hand, how many times that I've had to to ban somebody, what I mean, from coming back or doing those sorts of things, and that's truly remarkable. And I think that's what really pushes me or has pushed me towards you guys, is because you have a similar philosophy, a similar attitude, and it resonates not only with me but also my listeners, that listen in, and that was a big reason why. We didn't have a show on Tuesday nights, and I didn't want to have a show covering your show because it's amazing.
Oh,
and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
I remember you telling me that a while back. That's really special. That really is. So thank you.
That means a lot. Yeah, and everybody, people in the chat room are talking about what a fun chat it is, and and the Hatters and the Cats. Yeah, they're amazing. Our people are amazing. I wouldn't trade them for nothing.
No.
Not all the money in the world.
It's what's amazing, guys, is we have people that are coming, they're engaging in our conversations, and we're having a great time doing it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's about the people. Yeah. And I remember watching an interview that Art Bell had with Larry King, and Art talked about one of the things that really connected him with his audience was the type of people. And he said, nighttime people are different. He repeated that a couple different times. Nighttime people are different. And so that is who he connected with. It wasn't about necessarily the topics, although, they talked about a lot of different topics. It was about connecting with those people. And that's what it's about here. We have a wide range of topics that we talk about on the show. We bring on fantastic guests. We have Inside the Upside Down, where another wide range of topics. But when it comes down to it, it's about the people.
I can't tell you how many times since we've started the show, especially the YouTube version of it because of the chat, that after the show, I've received private messages, thanking, and I know you have too, Mike. I know that. Thanking us for how we treat our people and asking for help privately on a particular situation, which, if I can do it, I'm more than happy to. If I can't, I'll pass them on to somebody I think that can.
Well, and then things like this, Jen with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Jen. Appreciate that.
Love you, girl.
They show the love.
They do. And I hope that they feel, and that they always feel, that we show it back.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, because these are friends. These are friends and their family. And I think that's how people felt when they called into Art. Nobody calls up a stranger that they don't have, that they don't feel a connection with, to tell their life story.
Oh, sure. Anybody that called in would have already been listening to him for how many hours beforehand?
Exactly. Yeah. That speaks a lot to his character, on having so many people wanting to do that, and to be syndicated in so many areas because of how many people felt comfortable enough to tell him things that they wouldn't tell probably their closest friend. That's huge. That's an accomplishment few can say they've done.
Yeah, I do want to jump in there because this is a state of the paranormal that I think that you, Mike, Vanessa, everybody within Haunted Road Media is doing it right, and that's by allowing folks to get into your event for $5, in June, to come and do that. And then I saw another St. Louis or in a similar area, Paracon, where they were going to charge people $55.
Wow!
Just to come in this convention, and I didn't even know anybody that was involved with it.
Wow, that's a pretty steep price for a Paracon, and Yeah.
Well, I have to be honest with you.
Live entertainment? I don't know. We have a live entertainment, actually.
They had one here in Oklahoma. I don't know who was attending. I don't know anything about it. But I know it was, Mike, you'll know this place. It was at the Overholser
Mansion. Yep.
Mansion. It was $125 to get into. Now, here's what people need to know about these Paracons. When they're charging that extraordinary amount of money, that's not going to the location. That's going to people who are speaking there.
Yeah, and the people at this St. Louis event for $55, I don't even know any of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look it up to even see, because I didn't know there was an event going on there.
It's almost as bad as, I'm a world-renowned psychic, okay? World-renowned, but you've never heard of me. Come on.
Right.
Yeah,
World-renowned because I guess maybe you're on Facebook and somebody from France or UK or Australia. Yeah, somebody from another country has friended you. So now you're world-renowned. Yeah.
Well, see, and that's the thing. People say that about me, and bless them, love them for it. Y'all, for anyone out there who's watching, I'm not famous. I'm not. I promise you that. I just know a lot of people. Chuck, don't you feel the same way about yourself?
Yeah. You know, when I hear people are saying, "Oh, Chuck, you know, you've almost hit it big," and I'm like, bullshit. I said, you know, I'm always. Wait.
I'll stay down here and almost. You know, almost is comfortable. Almost is good. We like almost. Yep. You know. But
it's like,
there's Robert White, world renowned in my own little mind. Yeah, that's the way a lot of people are. Yeah.
Oh, bless them. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I am a legend in my own mind. Yep. Nobody can say shit to me there. I'm just kidding. Y'all know that shit ain't true. But that's what a lot of people think, you know, about people that have the shows and stuff like that. Or they think, you know, because you're an author like yourself and Mike and myself, that we have a lot of money. Oh, bitch, please. I ate $1 package of noodles for dinner tonight. It was good.
Speaking of bucks, okay.
There you go.
There you go. That's
shameless
Chucky. But that's, I wish, and maybe this is silly, and if it is, by all means, please say so. But I wish people would take this approach to it. Keep your serious moments for investigating and for readings on helping people and for times when it's necessary. But stop taking yourself so seriously.
Hey, Vanessa. Rebecca Gardner says, Vanessa, you're famous in the authentic para community.
Oh, bless you. Oh, mwah! Big kisses.
That's awesome.
But you know what I mean? Save the seriousness for the stuff that's important, not for the egos.
Yeah.
Because ego means dick. Fame means dick.
Yeah, the ego stuff only gets you so far. You know, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, how have you helped others? What do others like truly think of you? Not as in, I guess I kind of worded that wrong, because I don't believe in you should care what others think of you. But basically, there is a degree of how you have helped others, and by helping others, people will see you as a good-natured person. So what's your soul? What's in your heart? Is what it comes down to. That's what I'm trying to get to. What's in your heart at the end of the day?
That's a huge thing.
At the end of the day is a podcast on Sunday nights with Chuck Banks and Benji Gertis. No, I'm just kidding. It actually is. We're going to be on hiatus for a while, but no, I couldn't agree more. I truly just want to be known as a good guy that's trying to make this world a better place. And you know what? If I can do that and people say that, then you know what? That's worth more than being rich.
Yeah.
Boom. Mic drop. And that's, for the most part, from what I understand, again, y'all knew much more of him than I do. Okay. So I am by no means an expert, But to my understanding, that's exactly what Art Gill provided. Was that comfortable place for people to go. People felt comfortable and at home and secure and not judged. And I think if you can provide anything in this community when you're trying to expand your knowledge and expand others, that to me is the most important thing you can provide, is a safe place.
Absolutely.
A safe place for people to go.
Absolutely. So state of the paranormal. What
sucks.
Are we doing? Well, yeah. Are there?
I'm sorry.
Do we have enough people in the paranormal that are truly trying to help others? And there's a variety of different ways to do it. Or do we have too many people that are just trying to put out the best evidence? And I think that's something that we do here is, like I was saying earlier, we connect with the Mad Hatters and all that. And while, yes, we have our paranormal investigation videos, we've posted our evidence and all that, our crux is on the people. And like you said, Vanessa, Art resonated with people, and that's why they'd call in. They'd listen to him again and again and again, and be like, I got to share my story with him. And they'd call in, no matter how crazy the story was, and Art would listen to him. So, do we have enough people in the paranormal community now that can do that? Or is it going to go the other way, and we have all the people that are just want to get famous on evidence?
If I'm being fair and not shitty and not catty, if I'm being fair, then I say, honestly, it's 50-50. It's even Steven. The difference is that the ones who might not be in it for the right reasons are louder. And therein lies the difference. Like there is an unbelievable podcast out there, totally non-paranormal related, called The Life of Caesar. It's the Life of Caesar podcast. It is absolutely amazing. And it was all about the life of Caesar. Unbelievably popular. So many people know about it, but only the people in, that follow that and are in that crowd. But it's very well known in that crowd and very well respected. And I think that in the same fashion, we have those in the paranormal that are the same way, but they're just not as loud as the others. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Chuck?
Candy, we'll let Chuck interject here in a second. Candy Orton is saying, I personally think that most of the authentic, caring ones are not being heard, and I find that sad. Too many want drama. So, Chuck?
True story.
I've kind of, sat back and watched kind of the social media and things like that. And, it's kind of like anything else. I think 3 years ago, everybody was an exorcist or coming out as, these folks that are getting rid of demons, stuff like that.
Oh, I had somebody on one of my videos one time say, I've been a demonologist since I was 12 years old. That was a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Wow. And, it's one of those things, the paranormal is no different. It's I think that a lot of people are weeding themselves out. But, like Vanessa says, it's, that 50-50 shake. And, you look at squeaky wheel gets the grease. And a lot of times it's the idiots, that people strive for. I mean, people don't turn on the news to listen about this heartfelt story about, this kid and this family with autism and how they were able to, to get through all of those trying moments. They want drama.
Yeah.
They want the nasty, the darkness. And, I just think, people, I do. I think that we should call each other out when we think that we're being fake, when we think we're not being authentic. And if we do that, I think we can make this world a better place. It's too many times I've sat back in the arena and just let things, happen. And I didn't voice my opinions because I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. It's kind of like the 1968 election. It's kind of like right now in politics. You're afraid to speak out on one side or the other, and both sides are idiots. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think we're right there at this point, but we have to be rational and calm and, forgiving because, that's important to do. in, you know, whether it's our spirituality or whether it's who we are. But at the end of the day, I think the bad people weed themselves out. It's not going to totally, you know, change it to all lollipops and rainbow shit, but it's going to get it's going to go in the right direction.
Well, yeah, over time, people do fall by the wayside. Go ahead.
John Zaffis made a post recently, you know, basically dogging, you know, some people in the paranormal community. And you know what? I've been a John Zaffis fan for years. But you know what? Some of us are actually trying to make a difference and change the world. It's not all of us, so don't label us. You know, I think a lot of times we are freaking labeled by these people that have been in the paranormal for a long time, and they forget where they come from, and that bothers me a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely paranormal snobbery, especially if somebody's been on a show multiple times. All of a sudden, they think they're the king shit, and it's like, no, it all smells the same.
I'm the redheaded stepchild of the paranormal. I'm not the cool kid. I don't get to. I am not invited to the cool kids table. I don't sit there, and I love it that way.
You are in June, my God.
Yeah, I'll be sitting with my cool people right there. But you're right, though, when it comes to what gets attention. Just like on a newscast, if there's an accident, the reporters don't find the person that can articulately explain what happened the best. They find that one person in the crowd with their hair in rollers, only one front tooth, and have completely forgotten that you're not supposed to use be as a verb. You know, that's what they look for, you know, and I find in a different way, it's the same with the paranormal. Rationality doesn't seem to be accepted. Common sense doesn't seem to be accepted. You know, forward thinking and open lines of communication seems to be taboo, and I don't understand that.
Well, and I think it really kind of depends on which avenue of the paranormal you're looking at. But if you're looking from an investigative point of view, and I think a lot of people, I'm going to question creativity. Like, okay, you know, we're going to make a, you know, something gets knocked on the floor, and we're going to say it's a demon, and you know, we'll post all of our, you know, best evidence, and you know, they forget, and they're going for that drama, all this, you know, fantastic, wild stuff that's happening in the investigation or whatever paradrama they have going on. They're going to make it all about that as their shtick, and they're forgetting to look at the bigger picture, where you know, these locations have a story. You know, the Goldenrod Showboat had many fantastic stories that we were still digging into before it unfortunately burned, that we were still digging into. Very, very colorful history. And it didn't need a demon on the boat, you know?
No.
Not at all. So look a little deeper other than just, you know, the activity that's going on. I mean, the paranormal activity is, you know, a result of the energy that's there and some people that are still hanging around. But those people in that energy have a story. Go digging down deep into that, and that's where your quote unquote drama and real story will come from, not from, you know, oh, I got this massive hit on the K2, and while that's fine and dandy, use that to tell the deeper story, not have that be the story.
Well, let me give my best example of this, and I'll be short and sweet about it. When I was in Ireland, one of my most profound moments was at Hellfire Club. And as I said before on the show, I really thought that I would be one of the first people that was just going to run into it. And that wasn't the case at all. The girls made it in there way before I did, because I was pulled to the back of it next to the mound, and I had to sit down and draw that man, not knowing that when I went into the Hellfire Club, I was going to find 2 children in this little cellar part of it that has that little slit window looking at that mound.
Right.
The little girl naked in chains with her head between her knees. The little boy naked, bloody, stabbed and beaten and whipped on the floor. That means more to me than any place I could go in this world that may or may not have a demon, because those were 2 actual lives that were in that place that suffered greatly and are at least in some need of of compassion. That's the story.
There you
Not
go.
something evil that maybe never walked the earth as a human. But the people, one of these days, y'all, all of us are going to be dead. Ain't none of us getting out of here alive.
True enough.
Do you want somebody searching for a demon when you're gone? Or do you want them talking to you and passing along your message?
Well, I'll say this much. I'm not visiting Steve Huff to talk in his ghost box.
All I'm saying, right there.
Guaranteed. So if he says I'm in his ghost box, it's a lie.
Yes. Oh, and I know that.
So we're getting down toward the end of the show. Chuck, do you have some final thoughts on Art Bell and State of the Paranormal right now?
Well, I really appreciate you having me on. Tonight's show was an absolute blast. I've been dealing with my own inner demons, not true demons, but over the last few weeks with a health issue and things like that. But anyway, the State of the Paranormal, folks, we can truly make this world a better place if we just promote the positives, if we just allow people to have educated, smart, intelligent conversations instead of trying to, rationalize everything that everybody states or says or does or whatever, and go in with an open mind a little bit, and really, truly dig down and, share or, go back to your roots. Why did you get involved in the paranormal?
Yeah.
Why did you get involved in spirituality? I mean, the meaning of life, that beautiful question that we all desire to find the answers for, and go back to the raw nature of what the paranormal is, and I think things will change for the better. I truly believe that. And Art Bell, buddy, I know you're up there. I'm sure you're not listening to my ass tonight, but I will continue to listen to you forever, my friend.
Yeah. Fantastic. $5 super chat from BD Flint here, right at the end. Thank you, BD. Absolutely appreciate that. Vanessa, any final thoughts? And we'll do some shout outs here in just a moment.
Just going on what Chuck said, summing that up. Again, go back to your roots. Find out what made you tick, what ignited your passion for this field. And if it was to hunt a demon, please get out.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, on that note, I saw some weird stuff when I was a kid, shadow person in my room, some other different shadows. My friend David just, suddenly turned beet bright red off of just touching a wall, just some weird stuff. I knew there were some different things that I wanted to discover and explore. And on that journey have discovered that it is so much more about the people than it is about, the phenomena itself. And the phenomena is a result of all the people. And so that has been a real eye-opener over all these years. And so, going back to Art to kind of end it off on that, such a, great legacy and a great pioneer for this entire field. We can't thank him enough for paving the way and, really giving us, he opened the doorway and he gave us a blueprint to use, principles, like you were saying earlier, Chuck, that we could use, that we can continue to use to progress forward. And just, I hope that we don't lose sight of that we can continue to move forward with those principles and ones that we're picking up along the way. So
one last thing, Mike, to anybody out there that is involved in the paranormal, anyone in our chat, anything like that, look inside your heart. Don't follow what you think the TV shows are telling you should be doing. I know our listeners and our viewers know that, but to anyone new who is out there and just now getting into it, always go into a situation as if it was somebody you love that you're wanting to speak to. Always. Because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be somebody's loved one. It's going to be somebody's child or grandmother or father or uncle that died way too soon. Have compassion. Don't let this field take that from you. Don't let ego take that from you, please.
Fantastic. Chuck, where can everybody find you and your books?
You can follow me. The best place to follow me is Charles Anthony on Facebook. You can email me, pointofascension1972@gmail.com. Just message me and you can get a hold of my book. It's called the Midwest Paranormal Road Trip. I do have a new book out that I think I'm going to take back down, and I'm going to give that to Mike and Haunted Road Media, which is Death the Saga. It talks about, kind of, how I became who I am today and all those nasty, scary stories along the way. I was a poet that didn't even know it, see?
There you go.
I can't wait to see you, Chuck. I'm excited.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
It's going to be a great time. Yeah, so Chuck is also going to be there. The Haunted Road Media Paracon in June. That's June 9th in Alton, Illinois at the old Mineral Springs Hotel. So entry is only $5. We have a lot of great speakers. We have live music and a lot of great stuff going on that day. So, Chuck and Vanessa are both speaking there.
I'm going to have some goodies there.
Vanessa is bringing some of her stuff. And, it's going to be a great time. So,
Vanessa's going to talk about fake psychics. So
she's going to talk about fake psychics, yeah.
I'm afraid to walk in the room. She's going to be like, that guy over there is a fake ass.
That's funny.
Sir. No, Katie is actually going to do that presentation with me, and I'm going to tell everybody what to look for, how to spot a fake one, because I'm so freaking tired of people getting swindled.
Yeah.
Pissed me off.
And there is Dawn with a $5 super chat. She says, I woohoo, love my paranormal family. All right. Thank you, Dawn. I absolutely appreciate that. So, okay, let's get to the shout outs, and then after that, switch out the show to Inside the Upside Down, where we were talking. This was going to be a little bit of a more fun one. Real versus real paranormal movies. So we're going to look at, the real hauntings and how they've been portrayed at the box office. So it's just something a little fun. So Inside the Upside Down of movies. All right. Yeah. So, of course, need to thank Shana, our chat Shananigator, for shenanigating the chat. No, she's not feeling well tonight. So hope she feels better, and she was still able to shenanigate the chat, which is awesome. And then we have Donna Gorton down there, our Cheshire cat. I actually, Bonnie Halpern was in there as well. I saw her earlier, too.
Yeah.
So, Shauna's saying, better fix the volume before next show. I don't even know what's wrong with it. I was testing it out before the show. Everything looked good, and apparently it happened during the show anyway, so I have no freaking idea what's going on with it. All right, so let's get to it. So Tim Schoen and Sean Gilmore, thank you guys very much. There's Don. Oh, we need to get to our Super Chat Superstars. So there was Don, BD Flint, Jen, Patrick Snaggletooth, Andrew Cox, and Tom McNicholas. Those are our Super Chat Superstars. Absolutely appreciate it. So, all right. Rebecca Gardner, thank you very much. Robert White from Australia, thank you again for joining us. Bethany Warder, Michelle Hamilton. Michelle Hamilton is also going to be set up there at the Paracon B3 Airspace. Thank you for joining us. One of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons, as is Tom McNicholas, Grizz. I know Grizz was in there tonight. Zippy Davis was in there as well tonight. BD Flint was in there as well. Pamela Queen, and was that all 6 of them? Did I name 6? I think I named 6. So it's Tom McNicholas, Grizz, B3 Aerospace, Zippy, BD Flint, and Pamela Queen. Those are our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. So, all right, Greg Rinkin is in the house as well. Katie Palmer, thank you very much. Football Stuff Worldwide, thank you for joining us tonight. I think I already said Tim Schoen, so thank you, Tim. Jen, of course, thank you. Sean Oldsmith, thank you as well. Another Aussie on hand. I like how we have a pretty strong Australian contingent in here.
But they don't know who I am, remember?
Right. Fungi, thank you very much again. Candy Orton, thank you as well. And I think Shay Carroll's in here as well, right? So yes. That's representing Beyond the Light Network, which is Chuck's group. X Group Home Kid, thank you very much. Sean Gilmore, thanks, buddy. And Charmy Vapes Paranormal, thank you, Charmy. Who else do we have?
It was a huge chat.
Yeah, it was a pretty good sized chat. Pamela Rainey, And there's Zippy. And I'm just starting to go up. Andrew Cox, thank you very much. I already mentioned him in the Super Chats anyways. Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast. Thank you. Lenora Moreno, thank you. If I could speak. Lenora, I'm going to have to get some tea between shows. Joe Chandler, thank you very much. And there's Carrie Parrish. Hey, Carrie. Thank you.
Hey, Carrie.
I think I got Katie Palmer earlier. I may not, but there's Katie. And who else we have? Chipper Terry, thanks for joining us again. Judy Wilson, thank you. Diane Hilbert. And there's Grizz. And who else do we have? There's Rebecca Gardner. And all right, so let me scroll all the way back down.
As you're scrolling, I'll throw out that Jen, Shay, and Kim were over in the Spreaker chat this evening.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Yeah, so yeah, we simulcast out. YouTube is our main broadcast. We also simulcast out to Chuck's Beyond the Light network on Spreaker, and then down there in Periscope as well, where Tom is giving us some love and hearts and all that stuff. There's Tammy Heitzman. Thank you, Tammy. Haunting History. David Glidden is in the house, so very cool. And I guess that's about it. If we missed you, I apologize. We try to get everybody. There's a lot of people in the chat, and so we do our best.
It was a big chat tonight. A big chat.
There was one more over there, Chanel. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Chanel. Okay, everybody. Stay tuned. We're going to Inside the Upside Down next. So I'm going to let these two go. Not sure if Shana will be there or not. I'll ask her between shows. So if she can't make it, I totally understand because she's not feeling so well. But we will roll nonetheless. Real versus Real coming up and Inside the Upside Down. And Chuck, again, thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight.
Hey, appreciate it, buddy.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Bye-bye.